My parents said they were too busy to watch my son for just 1 hour while I took my final exam. The next day, they drove 2 hours to take my brother's kids to a water park, so I went silent. 3 months later, they called in a panic. "Hey, why haven't you sent any money?" I simply replied, "I always knew my parents played favorites. I saw it growing up, but I thought maybe, as an adult, things would even out. Maybe, once we were all older, my parents would see me and my brother as equals." I was wrong. Jake, my younger brother, has always been the golden child. He could do no wrong in their eyes. If he made a mistake, there was always an excuse. If he needed something, my parents bent over backwards to give it to him. I was just a broken bar there. The responsibly broken bar one. The one who didn't need as much. The one they could push to the side, knowing I'd figure things out on my own. For years, I let it slide. Then, one day, they showed me exactly where I stood, and I finally believed them. I'm a single mom to my 5-year-old son, Lucas. His dad ran off before he was even born, so it's just been the two of us from the start. Raising a kid alone isn't easy. I work full-time, and I recently went back to school to finish my degree so I could get a better job. It's been a grind, but I do it because I want my son to have a better life than I did. I don't ask for help often, but on this particular day, I needed it. I had a huge final exam coming up, one of those make-or-break tests that could mean the difference between passing and failing. I had no choice but to be there. Lucas's usual babysitter had a last-minute emergency and couldn't make it. I was scrambling. I called a couple of friends, but nobody was available. I started panicking. Then, I thought, why not ask my parents? They live 15 minutes away. They're retired. They love to say, "Just let us know if you ever need anything." So I gave them a call. "Hey, I have an exam tomorrow, and I need someone to watch Lucas for just an hour. Would you be able to help?" "Mom, oh, sweetheart, we'd love to, but we're just so busy." I paused. "Busy? Doing what?" "Me? Oh, okay. Is everything alright?" "Mom, yeah. We're just exhausted. We were planning on resting tomorrow." "Maybe you can ask Jake." "Right, Jake. Jake, who never helps me with anything. Jake, whose wife does all the actual parenting while he sits on his ass playing video games." Still, I asked him, and, of course, he was too busy. I had to beg a classmate to switch exam times with me. I barely made it. The whole thing was a stressful nightmare, but I managed. Then, the very next day, I got a text from my cousin. "Cousin, hey, I saw your parents at the water park with Jake's kids. Are you here too?" I had to read it twice. The same people who were too exhausted to watch my son for 1 hour had driven 2 hours to take my brother's kids to a water park. I saw red. I called my mom. "So, you were too tired to watch Lucas yesterday, but today you drove 2 hours to a water park?" Silence. Then, the excuses started. "Mom, oh, honey, don't be like that." "Me? Like what?" "Mom, you know Jake's kids don't get out much. We wanted to do something special for them." "Me, and my kid doesn't matter?" "Mom, that's not fair. You always think we favor Jake, but that's just not true." I laughed. It's not." "Then explain this. Explain why you couldn't give me 1 hour of your time, but you had the energy to spend an entire day entertaining Jake's kids." More excuses, more gaslighting, more attempts to twist things around so I was the bad guy. I was done. I hung up. I made a decision that night. I was going no contact. I wasn't going to beg for scraps of attention anymore. I wasn't going to let them treat my son like he was second class compared to Jake's kids. And you know what else? For the past 4 years, I had been sending them $300 a month to help with their bills. It wasn't a crazy amount, but it was enough to make a difference. Enough that they relied on it. I never thought much about it. They always said they were struggling, and I wanted to help. But now, not anymore. I stopped sending money. I ignored their calls. At first, nothing happened. Then, about 3 months later, I got a voicemail from my mom. Her voice was shaky. "Sweetheart, we need to talk. We haven't gotten the money this month, and, well, things are getting really tight. Please call me back." I didn't. A few days later, she called again. "Mom, why haven't you sent the money?" "I've been busy." "Mom, busy?" "Yeah, like when I needed you to watch Lucas. Silence. Then, she started stammering. Mom, oh, honey, we didn't realize you were still upset about that. Me, I'm not upset. I just realized I need to prioritize the people who prioritize me. Mom, but we're family. I let that sit for a second. Then I said, are we? Or is that just something you say when you need money? She lost it. She yelled, called me selfish, said I was punishing them over a small misunderstanding. I let her go on. Then, when she finally ran out of steam, I said, calmly, I'm just following your example, Mom. You showed me how to treat family. And then I hung up. A few weeks later, I heard through the grapevine that my parents had to go to Jake for money. Guess what? Jake said number. Apparently, he and his wife were struggling financially and couldn't afford to help. So now, my parents were desperate. And that's when the real fun began. After I hung up on my mom, I expected some kind of retaliation. Maybe another angry phone call. Maybe my dad would get involved. Maybe they'd show up at my door. Instead, silence. Days passed. Then a week. Then 2. I wasn't going to lie. It felt weird. For years, they had this constant presence in my life, even if it was mostly filled with disappointment. Cutting them off was like suddenly living without a weight on my shoulders. It felt lighter. But I knew my parents. They weren't the kind of people to just accept consequences. And sure enough, a month later, my phone rang. It wasn't my mom this time. It was Jake. I stared at his name on my screen. He and I weren't close. We never had been. We didn't fight. Exactly. We just lived in different worlds. Jake had always been the carefree one, the baby of the family. If life ever got hard, someone else fixed it for him. I let the call go to voicemail. Then he texted, Jake, hey, can we talk? Jake, it's important. I waited an hour before replying. Me, what do you want? Seconds later, my phone rang again. I sighed and picked up. Me, what? Jake, wow, okay, you're still mad. Me, I'm not mad. I'm busy. Jake, right. Well, look, I wouldn't call if it wasn't serious. Me, then get to the point. Jake, sigh. Mom and Dad are in trouble. I didn't say anything. I just let him talk. Jake, they're behind on the mortgage. Like, way behind. They're saying they might lose the house. Oh, there it was. Jake, they asked me for money, but you said number. Jake, I can't help them. We've got 2 kids. Daycare costs are insane, and our mortgage. Me, so what? You expect me to fix it? Jake, I mean, yeah, you were sending them money before, right? I laughed. Actually laughed. Me, you realize they put themselves in this situation, right? Jake, come on, they're our parents. Me, were they acting like parents when they left me struggling just to take an exam? Were they acting like parents when they picked your kids over mine? Silence. Me, let me guess, they didn't tell you about that. Jake, number. I gave him the short version. The babysitting, the excuses, the water park trip, the phone call when they realized the money was gone. When I finished, Jake was quiet for a long time. Then, he sighed. Jake, yeah, that sounds like them. Me, then you understand why this isn't my problem. Jake, but they're gonna lose their house. Me, that's on them. Jake, so you're just gonna let it happen? Me, yep. 2 days later, my mom called again. This time, she didn't sound angry. She sounded broken. Mom, sweetheart, please. We don't know what to do. Me, maybe you should ask Jake's kids, since they're the ones who matter. Mom, that's not fair. Me, neither was leaving me stranded when I needed help. Mom, but we didn't know you were that upset. Me, you knew. You just didn't care. She started crying. Mom, we might have to move. We don't have anywhere to go. I don't know what we're going to do. I sighed. For a brief moment, I considered helping. Not for them, but because I knew what it was like to struggle. Then I remembered all the times I had to figure things out alone. All the times I was the last priority. All the times they expected me to handle things because I always did. Me, I hope it works out for you. And I hung up. I thought that would be the end of it. I thought, after all this, my parents would finally learn. But they had one last trick up their sleeve. 2 weeks later, I got a letter in the mail. I opened it, read the first few lines, and froze. It was from a lawyer. My parents were suing me. I stared at the letter. My own parents were suing me. For what? I skimmed through the legal jargon until I found it. They were claiming that because I had been giving them money regularly for years, it constituted a verbal agreement, meaning they were entitled to continue receiving financial support from me. They were actually trying to make it legally binding that I keep sending them money. I felt my stomach drop. This wasn't just desperation, this was war. I didn't call them. I didn't text. I drove straight to their house. When my mom opened the door, she actually looked happy to see me, like she thought I had come to apologize. Mom, oh, sweetheart, I knew you'd come around. Me? Are you out of your goddamn minds? Her face dropped. Dad walked into the hallway. Dad, watch your tone. Me? Oh, my tone. I think I have the right to be a little upset since my own parents are trying to sue me. Mom, we didn't want to. But you left us no choice. Me? No choice. You had every choice. You chose to screw me over when I needed you, and now you're trying to legally force me to take care of you. Dad? You were helping us before. We counted on that money. Me? That's not my problem. Mom, you can't just cut off family like that. Me? You cut me off first. She went quiet. I shook my head. Me? Drop the lawsuit. Dad? We'll drop it if you agree to help us financially. I laughed. Actually laughed. Me? You think you have any power here? You're the ones drowning. You're the ones who need me. Mom, we'll take you to court. Me? Go ahead. Let's see how a judge feels about you trying to legally trap your own daughter into paying your bills. They didn't have a response to that. Mom started crying again. Mom, we're going to lose everything. Me? Maybe you should have thought about that before you made me feel like I was nothing to you. I turned around and walked out. They didn't try to stop me. A week later, I spoke to a lawyer. She took one look at the case and laughed. Lawyer, they don't have a leg to stand on. Apparently, in order for verbal agreements to hold up in court, there had to be proof that I had explicitly promised to keep paying them indefinitely, which, of course, I never did. My lawyer sent them a cease and desist letter and warned them that if they continued, I'd countersue for emotional distress and harassment. They dropped the lawsuit within 48 hours, and just like that, my parents had officially lost. I thought that was the end of it. I thought they'd finally leave me alone. But a month later, my cousin called me. Cousin, oh, did you hear about your parents? Me? What now? Cousin, they sold the house. My heart stopped. Cousin, they didn't have a choice. They were about to get foreclosed on. They're moving in with Jake. I burst out laughing. The same Jake who said he couldn't afford to help them. The same Jake who was too busy to do anything for them before. Now they were his problem. I could only imagine how well that was going to go. I hung up the phone and looked at Lucas, playing on the floor. For the first time in my life, I felt free. And I knew, without a doubt, I had made the right choice. A month after my parents moved in with Jake, my phone rang again. It was him. I didn't pick up. A text followed. Jake, call me. It's important. I ignored it. An hour later, my phone rang again. This time, I answered, out of curiosity. Me? What? Jake, you have to take them back. I nearly choked on my drink. Me? Excuse me? Jake, Mom and Dad, you have to take them. I can't do this. I sat back, enjoying this more than I should have. Me? What's the problem? You said you couldn't afford to help them before, but now they're living with you. Isn't that exactly what they wanted? Jake, they're driving us insane. Oh, I bet they were. Me? Sounds rough. Jake, they complain about everything. They don't like the food we bite. They take over the living room all day. Mom keeps guilt-tripping my wife about not taking care of them. And Dad, God, Dad keeps trying to discipline my kids. I grinned. Me? Wow. Shocking. Jake, you don't understand. Me? Oh, I do. I dealt with them my whole life. You're just getting a taste. Jake, I need you to take them. Me? Not happening. Jake, come on, you know how they are. Me? Yep, that's why I cut them off. Jake started begging. Actually begging. Jake, look, I get it now, okay? They always treated you like crap. I see it now. But please, I can't live like this. I let that sit for a second. Then I said, calmly, me? That sounds like a you problem. And I hung up. Over the next month, I heard updates from my cousin. It was glorious. Jake and his wife were at their breaking point. Mom kept demanding respect while treating Jake's wife like a servant. Dad kept yelling at their kids, trying to correct them like they were his to discipline. They argued constantly. Every day was a war zone. Then, one day, Jake snapped. He kicked them out. No warning, no backup plan. Just packed their bags and dropped them off at a motel. Mom called me, again. This time, she wasn't just crying. She was hysterical. Mom, Jake abandoned us. We have nowhere to go. Me, wow, that must feel awful. Mom, we're going to be homeless. Me, that's rough. Mom, we'll do anything, please. Just let us stay for a little while. I let out a slow breath. Then I said, with zero emotion, you made your choices, Mom, but we're family. Me, number, we're not. And I hung up for the last time. They had no money, no home, and no one left to bail them out. For years, they had used me, expected me to always be there, no matter how badly they treated me. They thought I would never walk away, but I did. And when they finally faced the consequences of their own actions, there was no one left to save them. They had burned every bridge. I wasn't their safety net anymore. Lucas and I were thriving. I got a better job. We moved into a nicer place, and I don't feel like I'm carrying dead weight anymore. Jake and I don't talk. He's probably still recovering from the hell he put himself through. As for my parents, last I heard, they're bouncing between cheap motels and extended stay places, barely scraping by. Am I sorry? Number. Because when someone shows you exactly where you stand in their life, believe them.